Welcome to the Extraordinary Purpose Podcast, where we explore some of the truly difficult questions and challenges that parents and their families face every day. Whether it's the sometimes painful process of parenting teens and young adults, navigating relationships with your partner and children, or you discovering your purpose in relationship with yourself, we will bring heartfelt and vulnerable conversations to the table to support and empower you. Our mission is to help you create a lifestyle full of love, passion, adventure, and influence. Here we go. Hey guys, welcome back to the Extraordinary Purpose Podcast with Erin and Chris. What's going on? I'm Chris, and as usual, sitting not beside me, actually in another room, but the absolutely incredible action taker that is Erin Vertis. What's up, Erin?
Hey, babe, what's going on?
Not much. So why don't we get right into it? Because today's topic is actually relevant to, I think, everybody's lives. No matter if you're a parent, whether you're a young adult, whether you are 90 years old, I think today's topic is going to serve us quite well. Erin, do you want to share what today's topic is?
Yeah, so today we're going to be talking about overcoming resistance and why it can change your life. It can change your health. It can change your emotional state. It can change everything for you when you learn the art of overcoming resistance and you really start to understand how it impacts you. And so we're going to be diving into that. And I think a really great way to kick this off is we'll share a little bit about what we've been up to, because Chris and I
Yeah.
have been really being kicked in the butts to overcome our resistance. We are trying something new in our business. We hired some new coaches and we're trying some new things in our business, and it is presenting a lot of resistance. So it's a big learning curve is what I'm trying to say. So we're learning a lot of new things, and that's challenging. And that's really a big part of what this whole conversation is whenever we try something new and we want to learn something new, it's totally natural and normal for our brains to be like, whoa, this is weird, this is new, this is scary, I don't want to do this. And that's where so many of us give up, right? It's just too hard, it's too scary, we don't see a way forward, so we don't do it. So that has been showing up for Chris and I in a lot of, for me personally, exhaustion. So I'll turn on my computer and go to dive into some of this new content we're creating, and I feel like I need to take a nap. I'm exhausted. And we've been getting frustrated with each other. You know, the resistance shows up in a lot of different forms for different people in different situations. So sometimes it can look like blame and frustration. It can look like blaming our past. It can look like being exhausted or finding every excuse why we shouldn't be doing the thing.
Yeah, so I think that is a great starting point because as we're kind of introducing this topic, as we always do, we want to make this as interactive as possible. And so think about your own goals, things that are important to you in your life. And as Erin said, like right now, Erin and I are playing bigger. That's something that's really important to us in our life, in our future, and not just for business, but in all areas of our life. But part of playing bigger means that you're taking on more risk, you're taking bigger steps, you want more for yourself. And the reality is, and we're experiencing this firsthand every single day, just as you do, just as young adults do, no matter what it is, there is going to be some form of resistance. And so what Erin's talking about now is how does that show up for us? How does that show up for you? How does that show up for your family, for your young adults? It's a really good starting point because I'll share with me, it looks a lot like limiting beliefs. Even though when I'm at my best and I'm feeling good, I know who I am, I know what I'm capable of, I know that I can do anything that I put my mind to. It's an old Doc Brown quote for any Back to the Future fans out there. That one always just slides in. And yet, when it comes time to taking some of these steps that are super important, super exciting, but also incredibly scary because they're bigger for us, they're putting us out there. Erin and I, just to give a little bit more glimpse of what Erin and I are up to, like we're looking to expand our brand. We're looking to reach more parents, more young adults. We're looking to be up on stages so that not because, we love being on stage, though actually we do. It's because we want to make more of a difference. That's our purpose. And
Hmm.
so the more opportunities that we get to be able to do that, that's in alignment with who we are and where we want to take ourselves. But that means it comes at a price. And that price is there's going to be resistance that shows up every single step of the way.
Yeah.
And you got to learn how to navigate that, right, Aaron?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think too, something you said, Chris, those limiting beliefs, that's a huge part of what comes up for people. And so I want you to
Yeah.
think about this. When we're talking about overcoming resistance, it doesn't mean it has to be some huge thing like scaling a business or something. This could be
No.
that you want to get back to the gym, or you want to start spending more quality time, with your child or your partner, right? Whatever it is, you want to start eating healthier. You want to start getting out for walks in the evening instead of sitting on the couch watching Netflix too early. Like any little thing, there's going to be resistance. And so a lot of those limiting beliefs stem from past experiences. And that's a really important part of understanding that if you can learn how to slow down a little bit, when you put something into play that you want to start doing, something new, something different, something that you used to do and you want to get going again, and you start checking in and noticing what comes up for you, I promise you a big part of it will be an inner dialogue that goes something like, well, I tried this before and it didn't work, or I used to
Right.
do it and it didn't work in the past. And so we think a lot about trying something new in the present based on past experiences. And it's really important not to let that hinder you. You were a different person even just yesterday, let alone 6 months or 2 years or 10 years ago.
Absolutely.
You're a different person today. You're trying new again. So it's really important to really check in with that inner dialogue, check in with those limiting beliefs. And part of overcoming resistance is sometimes we have to plow through them. Sometimes we can have a conversation. Where's that coming from? We can get tender with ourselves and ask ourselves, where is that fear coming from? Could do a little self therapy. There's a lot of different ways to overcome it, but sometimes it truly is you just do the thing anyway.
So let's get grounded because actually that's one of the first steps in this process is that the reason why resistance causes so much trouble for us is because it starts to control us. It starts to hold us back from taking some of these really important steps. It pulls us away into distractions. And whether those distractions are junk food or binge watching a Netflix show, which Aaron and I can completely relate to that.
Guilty
Um,
lately, especially.
Whether it's, yeah, spending too much time on your phone, or if it's a kid, it's playing too many video games. There is a lot of shapes and sizes that you'll know that you face some resistance, and there's behaviors that come out of that resistance that are kind of your defaults. Okay. And that's okay. But the real step in this process that Aaron kind of touched on is checking in with yourself, which is a topic or a ritual that we talk about all the time. The whole reason that we learn how to check in with ourselves, but especially right before we do something important, is to ground ourselves, to help us become more mindful, and most importantly, to become more present. The act of becoming more present means that we're disconnecting from our thoughts. And when we're disconnected from some of that resistance, those limiting beliefs, that distraction, whatever it is, guess what happens? All of a sudden, we get more control. And in this case, control is a really good thing because it means that you can decide, you can make the choice of what to do next. And a lot of us, when we're up against our resistance, we let that grip us so tight that we lose all control. And we end up not doing all of these really important things, these things that are so important to our life, whether it's just getting up in the morning, whether it's studying for a test, or if it's something bigger. It makes no difference. If it's holding you back, man, you're missing out. And as I always say, that's unacceptable. It's unacceptable to Aaron and myself. We want more for us. We want more for you. Okay. And so now I think, Aaron, why don't we just kind of walk them through a little bit of a simple process that we can all follow to take back some of that control and start to take some of these steps forward that are going to get us feeling better.
Yeah, so I think, the first step is learning to slow down a little bit. So you're going to have to get really intentional about this. And so that's why I really want you right now while you're listening or
Mhm.
watching, bring to mind something that you want to do. It can be something really small, it could be a huge dream or goal that you want to accomplish, but think about what that is, bring it to your mind's eye. And I want you to really keep that there. And the next time you go to take a step towards that, right? Or you go to, get your shoes on to go out for the run, or you go to make the phone call or send the email that's a resource for your dream or goal, and you hesitate. That's a great opportunity. That's where you stop, you pause, do some box breathing. That's one of the biggest
Mhm.
rituals we teach some of the kids we work with. If you don't know what box breathing is, it's a technique where you breathe in for a count of 4, like as deeply as you can into your lungs. You hold it for a count of 4. You exhale through your mouth, like really exhale for a count
Mhm.
of 4, and then you come back to your normal breathing for a count of 4. So it's kind of that box, 4, 4, and 4, and 4. And so you do that a couple times, and that can really ground you. And a lot of times, just that act of breathing a little bit differently helps you to detach from that resistance, whether it's the limiting belief or beating yourself up or the inner dialogue you need to take a look at, or the fear. And so when you have that moment of objection where you can, be more objective to the fear or the resistance, that loosens its grip on you and it gives you an opportunity to take the step anyway. And that's when you can check in really briefly. Okay, what's going on right now? What am I thinking about? What am I saying to myself? How am I feeling? And then you do it anyway. And so, Chris, why don't you talk a little bit about the 5-second rule from our friend Mel?
Yeah, and it's maybe not even that long, but so now we're all grounded, right? And Aaron's right. Sometimes the way to move forward is actually to take a pause, slow yourself down, get yourself into the moment, get yourself present, because that puts you into the best possible position to take back control over that moment so that you can then move forward. And so box breathing is a great way to bring yourself into the present. It's also amazing, by the way, just to calm yourself down. And so if you're nervous, if you're anxious, if you are feeling stressed or overwhelmed, all of these things, just focusing on your breath for a few minutes can make a tremendous difference towards getting you feeling more calm and relaxed and out of your thoughts so that you're ready to go. And then the very next step that you need to do, ironically, is it's time to move. And
Hmm.
so the real simple process, actually, I'm going to talk about the strategy first, is that something that I learned a long time ago is that all the thinking that you do about what's important to you and how you're going to do it, that should have happened the day before. And that's a ritual that we teach parents and young adults is that you make your plan of all the important things that you want to do the following day the night before. So before you even fall asleep, like like this is going to be a great day tomorrow because it's going to contain a few really great small steps that are going to move me towards my goals and my values and maybe even my future. And so we're back in the moment again. You're grounding yourself with your breath. You've already got that plan, so you know what's important to you. You know why it's important to you. You know what results that you want to get because all of those ingredients, they help you focus. They get you excited. They get you a little bit motivated. They get you feeling the way that you need to feel to remember, oh right, this is something that I've got to do. This is something that I have to do in order to feel the way that I want to feel. And then I'll tell you what you do. You count backwards from five, five, four, three, two, one, and then you immediately start whatever it is. And you can apply this, and Aaron, you can talk about maybe a few areas of your life where you're intentional about applying this, but you can apply this to waking up in the morning. So when your alarm goes off, you count to five, and then you immediately get your butt out of bed and get yourself moving into your morning routine. If you're a young adult and you've got homework to do, it's the evening, and you had made a plan that at 6 p.m., 6 to 7 p.m., that's your homework block at 5:55 or 5:57 you're going to check in with yourself, ground yourself with your breathing, and then when it comes time you're going to count backwards from 5 and then you're immediately going to focus in on your homework. Okay.
I feel like, I notice in my life, I go in and out. I ebb and flow with this. And I would say more recently, in the last month or two, even, I feel like I've been really practicing this. And it
Yeah.
makes such a difference in your energy and your confidence level. And I'm going to get into
Mhm.
that in just a second. But,
Yeah.
something that Chris and I have been doing to scale our business and kind of like get more, gain more awareness of our brand is we are paying a lot more attention to Instagram. And, Chris and I are animated. We obviously aren't shy of the camera. It has nothing to do with like that we're embarrassed to put ourselves out there on Instagram. It's just, literally taking the time and learning how to create these reels and videos every day and doing it because there's so much resistance
Mhm.
because we have so many other things to get done. By the way, go to our Instagram, go to Erin and Chris
Yeah.
and follow us on Instagram if you don't
Yeah.
already. We've got some really cool new stuff out there.
Yeah.
But we have just been doing it. We're just doing it. We're recording the videos. We're getting the stuff done. And, we find on the days when we do that, we're so much more playful with each other. We have fun. We're
Mm.
high fiving. We're proud of each other. I'm proud of myself, and I can tell Chris is proud of himself too, as opposed to the days where we let the resistance take over and we don't get the things done that we need to get done. We're both kind of depressive and crabby and irritated with each other. We're not loving on each other and really like showing affection with each other. I'm irritable with my kids on those days. And so there's such a big difference. And so a couple areas in my life also where I use this is the gym. I love going to the gym, but sometimes after I drop my daughter off at school and I'm driving back home, I'm at this light where I could go one way or the other. One way
Uh-huh.
is to go back home and just dive into work because I don't feel like putting in the effort. And I just do the 5 4 3 2 1 and I turn right and I go to the gym anyway. So
Yeah.
there you hopefully you're getting the idea. There's so many areas that you can use this. But what I really want to write home to you is that when we think, and I'm a big picture kind of person, so when I step back and think about as human beings, what do we really want most? What do we crave in our culture today, in our lives? What do we all want? We all want to feel good. We all want a sense of freedom. We want to feel empowered and confident. We want to have good energy for our family, for ourselves, for our kids.
Mhm.
We want to be excited about our future. And I'm telling you, just like I tell all of the young women I work with, there's no magic wand. There is a
Mhm.
wand, and it's not magic because it takes effort and it's simple, but it's not easy. And that is exactly what we're talking about here. It's overcoming resistance. When you follow through 2 or 3 or 4 times in a row on something you said you're going to do and you check in with yourself,
Mhm.
then I promise you the confidence level, your energy level, how good you feel about it, you want to shout it from the rooftops. You're so proud of yourself. You feel on fire. That's the dopamine hit that we're all looking for, that we drink to find, or we go shopping to find, or people watch porn or sex or whatever it is. These things we do to get that feel good in the moment feeling. You can get that by overcoming resistance and following through with the things that are really important to you. It's incredible.
It's life changing. And I think so many people that we talk to, and obviously we struggle with this in our own lives, we all experience this. And so that means that there's so many things that are being missed out on in all of our lives. And Aaron's right. Just by taking some of those steps each day, following through on some of those steps each day, the results are undescribable. It is such a positive energy shift that can occur just by following through, honoring your commitment, which is something Aaron and I were talking about right before we started this podcast. Is something when I'm coaching young adults, for example, I always say to them that we're going to do all the thinking, all the strategizing, all the planning the day before. That's the time that you spend at your desk with your journal or your planner in front of you. You're thinking through what's important to you. You're thinking through your goals. You're thinking about how you're going to do it and what results you want. Like all of that's going down on paper the night before. That's the last time that you're going to spend up here, because when you wake up the next morning and you've got a plan and you already know what that plan looks like, you know what's important to you, then it's about doing that 5 second rule. And part of the 5 second rule is you're not going to spend too much time up here, because if you spend more than 5 seconds, you're going to talk yourself out of it. Okay, you are going to talk yourself out of it 99.9% of the time.
Hmm.
And that is the worst possible feeling because the more you talk yourself out of it, the less you believe in yourself, the worse you feel. That's
Hmm.
unacceptable. We don't like that feeling.
No, and I want to say too, just like you can build momentum going forward when you follow through with your word, you can also build on that negativity. The more
Yes.
times you let the inner dialogue take over, you let the resistance get the best of you, all you're doing is reinforcing over and over again, like, see, I knew I couldn't do it. See, I know I don't have it in me. I'm too lazy. I don't have what it takes. I'm not this enough. I'm not that enough, right? And the more you
Right.
can overcome that, the more you build up that momentum to push forward.
Yeah, and I also want to just add is that I think a lot of times we feel overwhelmed, we feel scared, we don't think we can do these things for whatever reason. It's not true, but that's what our thoughts are telling us. And that's why a big part of this is you're not just making a choice about what to do, you're really choosing about where to put your focus.
Yeah.
Okay. And so you're choosing not to focus on these negative thoughts, these unhelpful thoughts, these resistant thoughts that are trying to hold you back. A big part of mine and Erin's philosophy is that you're going to get better at not holding yourself back, not getting in your own way, because only then are you going to be able to build that positive momentum. Only then are you going to be able to really find your potential. And trust me, all of us have incredible potential. I don't care who you are. You have so much more potential than you realize. And the best way to find it is to start to follow through on some of these commitments, start taking some of these steps towards your goals and towards your values and towards things that you want your life to look like or to move towards in your life. Only then are you going to build up the identity of somebody that honors their commitments, that's more motivated, that's more disciplined. A lot of what we've talked about today, really it comes down to discipline. You get used to doing things that you don't feel like doing. And the really funny thing is, and I've always noticed this, and we talk about this a lot, is that even things that we love, things that we're passionate about, things that are connected with our purpose, guess what? You're not always going to feel like doing it. Right, Aaron?
Yeah, most of the time. And the bigger, the more you expand and you hit one goal and you move on to the next, and the more you want for yourself and your life and your family and your kids and all of that, the
Yeah.
more resistance is going to show up. And that's okay, right? It's going to match it, but that's okay. And the other thing I just want to add here as we kind of wrap up is remember to celebrate yourself. When you
Mm.
do overcome the resistance, when you do follow through with the run or recording the video or whatever it is that you need to do, if you don't have a partner there to high five yourself,
Yeah.
right? Another great Mel Robbins book is The High Five Habit. I thought that was going to be so cheesy and I listened to it and it brought me to tears at the gym. She's so awesome. Anyways,
Yeah.
listen to that book if you decide to read it. I suggest listening to it. But truly,
Yeah.
high five yourself. Be proud of yourself. That's something we don't do enough in our culture. We're not taught to celebrate ourselves because we're taught that we
Mm.
should be modest and we shouldn't, toot our own horn, so to speak, or all those, cliches we hear. Screw that. Definitely toot your own horn.
Yes.
Definitely be proud of yourself. Shout it from the rooftops. Share it with friends. Post it on Facebook or Instagram. Be proud of yourself, because what happens is you start wiring your brain to expect more of that. Don't just do something that you're proud of and just plow on to the next thing. Make sure you celebrate yourself. It's such an important part of the process.
That might be the most important mess. We've talked about a lot of important stuff today. That
Hmm.
might be the most important because it is just, we're just wired to beat ourselves up. We're not doing enough. We didn't do this today. We didn't do that today. We didn't do that well enough. That's how we close out our day with all of those negative thoughts.
Hmm.
And so now it's time to shift that script, look back over your day, and celebrate some of the things that you did well today, some of those small steps that you took, some of that resistance that you overcame. Maybe you just got out of bed when you didn't feel like it today. Maybe you did. You got to the gym today when you didn't feel like it. You got that homework done when you didn't feel like it, when you were tired, when you were exhausted. You spent time with your family, you made dinner, whatever it is, celebrate it. Acknowledge the fact that you're doing great. You're doing super well. And you know what? That sets you up for future success. And that's what we want for all of us is that positive momentum so that we can build on that momentum and challenge ourselves tomorrow to keep taking some more of those really great steps.
Yeah, and I just want to share one more tiny little story just as we wrap up, for sure this time, because I think a lot of parents will relate to this. Lately we're just getting back into school and I get up at like 5:30 in the morning. I'm so exhausted by the time my kids go to bed. And a lot of times when my daughter gets to bed, I just want to go watch a show and shut my life off and not deal. But I have been pushing myself lately to sit in her room with her and rub her back. She just started volleyball, and she thinks she's dying at the end of the day. So I've been rubbing her back and just spending time chatting with her. And it takes everything I have because I'm so tired. But I overcome that resistance and I do it anyway. And I did it the last few nights, and I go to bed with such a better feeling. And so parents, if you're thinking about this with your teens, just overcome that, right? Any
Yeah.
resistance to spend that extra 15 minutes at night chatting with
I
them.
know.
There's going to be some resistance, or maybe you don't think they want you to come in their room. Maybe you're too tired. Plow
Yeah.
through it anyways. But really, play around with this week. I want all of you, whatever you came to mind as we were talking about this, get out there today, tomorrow, and check in with yourself. Notice what comes up for you, and just know that yes, you can. You can overcome this, and then celebrate yourself.
All right. So on five, we're going to count backwards and then we're going to go do that thing that we've been putting off. How's that sound?
Love
All
it.
right. Five, four, three, two, one. Let's go.
Go
Have
kick
a
some
great week,
ass.
everybody. Thank you. And we'll see you next episode.
Bye,
Bye.
guys. Take care.
Later, guys. Bye-bye.
We are so thankful for you and your beautiful family, and hope you found something inside today's episode that brought you hope, inspiration, and most importantly, a path forward. If you're interested in evolving your relationship, giving your kids the most important gift of personal growth and development, or are a mom looking to reconnect with your confidence and become empowered in all areas of your life, then schedule a discovery call with us today. Our mission is to help as many families as possible find their purpose, and that starts with you. See you in the next episode, my friends.